Assalamualaikum and hi. We are from group 17 going to present our experiment plan for KNC1101 Chemical Engineering Laboratory 1. Our group member is me, Seri Sofea binti Nazry with metric number 73822, Muhammad Afham bin Rusmin 73596 and Alia Syuhadah binti Badrul Hisham 73321. First of all, our group chose to conduct an experiment related to the second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy. So I'm going to briefly explain about the principle and theory of the entropy. Firstly, entropy is a modern form of the second law of thermodynamics coined by a German physicist named Rudolf Clausius. And as we all know, there are many phrases that have been used in order to simply define entropy. For example, the phrase "things tend to get more disordered over time" is one of the famous one-line definition of the term entropy. There are three pictures there related to entropy. The first picture shows the orange juice squeezed out from the pulp, and all people know that orange juice doesn't assemble itself back into the pulp of an orange. The second picture shows the balloon filled with water explode. During this process, the molecules of the water went from the nicely organized balloon shape to random droplets flying out in every direction. And the last picture shows the red dye dispersed throughout the water. And all these three pictures occur spontaneously. What is actually entropy means? Entropy is a measure of the number of possible ways energy can be distributed in a system of molecules. During any spontaneous process, the total entropy change for a system and its surrounding is positive. And it can be mathematically written as delta S universe is equal to the summation of delta S system and the delta S of surroundings, and this must be greater or equals to 0. In other words, the entropy of the universe is always increasing. Now, moving on to the concept of entropy that we are going to apply in our experiment. So our experiment is about the dye behavior in different temperature of water. So the first picture shows the blue dye dispersed differently in 3 different temperature of water. So why is this happen? Molecules of the water at equilibrium, which is at the room temperature, will have the same average energy. However, when the water is cool and boiled, the water molecules possess different amount of energy, where the hot water will have higher energy compared to the cold and room temperature water. Depending on the amount of energy the molecules have, it will be able to access different energy levels. Therefore, blue dye will disperse more in hot water. And there is a figure showing the different energy level of cold water, room temperature water, and hot water.
Next, the objectives of this experiment is to determine the relationship between the temperature of water and the rate of diffusion of color dye. Secondly, to calculate the velocity of color dye diffused in water at different temperature. There are 3 types of variables. Firstly, manipulated variable. Secondly, dependent variable, and third, constant variable. Manipulated variable is the temperature of water, which is used in this experiment, 0 degrees Celsius at room temperature 25 degrees Celsius and 100 degrees Celsius. Dependent variable is the rate of diffusion of color dye, and constant variable is size of container and the duration of the experiment, which is 1 minute.
Hypothesis of this experiment is when the temperature of water increases, the rate of diffusion of the dye also increases.
For material and apparatus, we use 3 identical glasses: red dye, green dye and purple dye, hot water, room temperature water and cool water, syringe and also a thermometer. For methodology, first, prepare 3 identical glass and label it as glass A, glass B and glass C. After that, fill 3/4 of water into the glasses. For glass A, fill with cool water. For glass B, fill it with water at room temperature, and for glass C, fill it with hot water. Then, place 2 or 3 drops of red dye for each glasses and observe what happens inside the glasses. For every 10 seconds until 1 minute, record the observation and area that color dye covered. Repeat step 2 until 4, but change the red dye to green and purple dye. All the observations are recorded in table 1.0.
Lastly, safety and precautions that must be followed during the experiment. Firstly, protective glasses should be worn to reduce the risk of splashes or particulates of color dye getting into the eyes. Secondly, keep the floor dry from any liquid where it might cause slippery and injuries. Thirdly, handle the hot water carefully, especially while pouring it into the glass container. Fourthly, make sure no children or siblings playing or running in the experiment area, since we do experiment at home. And fifthly, handle the glass container carefully to avoid them from break and cause injuries. And next, keep the experiment apparatus away from the edge of the table. Furthermore, we can make a list of harmful substances and situations before starting the experiment. Hence, we will know what to do about handling them. Next, ensure that the experiment area gets enough light to avoid misjudgment of the position of an object, which can lead to incidents and injury. And lastly, stay focused during the experiments and leave the distractions from other family members to prevent problems. That's all from us. Thank you.